I have been face to face with visitors from other planets other than here. I had one that's very, very close. Like I say, it stays with me. That individual is called Corona, and it was made clear, always spell it with a K. I don't know what difference it makes, but I was told my name is Corona with a K. So that little entity, it's about 4.5, 5 foot tall. A lot of people tell me, well, can't you make him gray? No, I can't. He has a greenish tint to him. He has a very unique feature of his face where the skull is larger out here, then it comes into a smaller cheek. The eyes are like teardrop, but with the top of the teardrop toward the inside slanted a little like this. 2 small slits for a nose and a slit for a mouth. Lips are not dominant or anything like that on this particular entity. But yet, you can see emotion within his face. And I say him because during the times that we have had interaction, we've even talked about family situations. Most often, we don't go ahead and think of them being anything like us to where they have families. We think of them as being genetically created. There's no longer that bonding between the female and the male of the species. Well, there is love there. It's not something that is missing from their society. They work towards the common good of their society. Unlike us, where a lot of times we are pulling at one another. There's competition, but the competition is working towards the common good. Not who can do the best job better. And it's so hard to put into words. It's almost like a beehive. All the bees in a beehive will work towards the common good of the colony within that hive. They do have their rogue elements, but when that happens, they are either extracted or killed within a beehive. In this case, they will refer to there being rogue elements that may be indifferent to the feelings of any other living creatures. When I was in the program, we were always told not all contact will be of a friendly nature. Now, the only time I've seen it where it wasn't of a friendly nature was when we were the ones that initiated the aggression. And it's very human to come up on something that shocks your psychic, that shatters everything that you once believed, and react hostile to that stimulus. And that has happened. Right now, we don't shoot at UFOs. We have chase planes, but they have the little crosshairs. In the past, when we chased planes and we tried to take gun camera footage, when you activated your gun camera, all of your weapons were ready to fire on whatever it is that you were taking the photograph of. That can be registered. We can do that. We can say, okay, this person, for whatever reason, is getting a lock on us. And we don't know whether he's shooting at us with a camera or he's getting ready to unload missiles on us. So that's considered a hostile act, even by our standard. What we do nowadays is that we use the crosshairs where the pilot can go ahead, hit up on the crosshairs. Whatever he's seeing in the center of the crosshairs, that's the center of what's going to show up in the gun camera footage. It doesn't go through any weapon system. Therefore, no hostile act can be registered or even be determined to be of such nature. The Russians have yet to learn this. The Russians have lost by the time I got out, they'd lost 27 aircraft in the attempt to shoot down a UFO. The Chinese are getting a sad lesson on it now. They will shoot at anything that comes into their airspace. Now, it's not because they are taking defensive actions where they're shooting these planes down. It's just that sometimes when they use their defensive system, it has an adverse impact on the aircraft fighters trying to shoot them down. But what happens is they bring these people into the programs, and then they find a whole new world opening up to them. And it's a very scary world, a very lonely world. It's a world you can't share with nobody. Now, there is a school, and they will send you to that school. I always fought not to go to that school, because when I met the people who came back from that school, they were different. They were cold, they were callous. They didn't really care about what happened to certain other people, that people that they had to go and talk to, that these people, they were just numbers. They were a mission to make sure that they didn't talk. And whatever happened to the people, that was not a problem of theirs. That wasn't a concern. They wound up killing themselves or start having mental problems. Then they would joke about it. And I thought, this is a horrific thing that we're doing, that it shouldn't be that way. And ultimately, one case right here out of New Mexico, where they drove the person insane. And I kept trying to talk to the person, look, don't go down that road. But he trusted the very people that he knew were government agents not to cause that to happen, and trusted them emphatically. And at least one government agent feels pretty badly about what they did to that person. And everyone should. In short, we should be telling the people the truth, that these people aren't crazy. They're having, from one degree to another, some type of interaction with our visitors. And we got people out there right now, John Q. Public, that has things bottled up in them. And I mean, this is a large number that have had interaction with our visitors to a more or less degree of some sort, who have actually blotted it out of their memory. But they need to know what really happened, and when they start thinking about it, they don't really know where to go and search out answers. I can remember seeing the sky, the night sky, filled with stars. Yet, I don't remember it happening before or since. But I do know that I have been in many deserts, many dark areas on clear, crystal clear nights, in which I could see many stars, but nothing like a couple of events in my life. And the only thing I could say was, part of that I'm blocking out. I have to be blocking it out, because the only way you could have seen all those stars is from a vantage point where you were not on this planet. That being said, I have no recollection of ever being abducted. I have no recollection of ever being taken into space in one of their craft. But yet, I have clear memory of seeing the sky as I was awed at it. But I can't explain why I have that clear memory. Don't know what was happening at that time. All I can say for sure, I was standing on level land. There are other things in my life that I have memory of that don't quite make sense. But when you go ahead and take into consideration the interaction that I know I've had with our visitors, and also know that it's a learning process, then we need to understand a little bit more about the relationship with our visitors and ourselves. Because through me, I don't have to be a genius, but everything I know, they know. Everything I see, they see. If you were over to my house, you would see thousands of CDs. The CDs have documents on them. A lot of subjects. Military subjects, space subjects, SDI, UFOs, but UFOs is just part of it. When I go ahead and download those, I'll scan them. I'm not even necessarily reading them. But I know as I scan those, they are picking up on what's there. So whether I have memory of everything that I've seen in the documents, they have memory of everything. And somehow, some way, using me, they can record that information and save it for prosperity. They also learn from that information, but they learn from us throughout life. If you're selected for them to, for lack of a better term, study, it starts at an early age, and they live long enough to mourn your death. And there's a reason I say mourn your death, because there's that relationship. It's hard to explain. It's not like your best friend or something like that, but there is that relationship. And that relationship is more human than what most people would think. But it's also with our visitors. It's hard to explain, it's hard to put into words. You're okay if you don't drudge it back up. But I have friends that are telling me I need to drudge it back up one time. But I feel so silly because of it. You can't hold the emotion back. And I have at times found myself wishing I could hate everyone and everything. And that way I wouldn't feel the compulsion to try to do something. And I know that's the wrong way to feel about it. But I can't hate. Even if I was to try to, I couldn't do that. I can't get angry with a person and stay angry with that person. I can get angry at a situation. I can feel frustration about a person's deportment or something like that. But I cannot go ahead and get angry, hold malice toward any individual. I guess it's just a situation where how do you stop it? How do you stop what's going on? How do you get it out there without the hard evidence to let people know these things are going on? I do know that UFO sightings really are, whether reported to the media or they're reported anyplace else, UFO sightings are on an increase. Now, in the 50s and 60s, people would report lights in the night sky. Unless there is an event of real high strangeness, people don't report these instances anymore. Once again, even in today's world, if you have an incident of high strangeness, you have the tendency not to report it. But I would suggest there's more going on than a person just being within 500 foot of a circular craft or an unusual craft. There's more going on than that person just seeing that craft and a strange-looking being next to it, or looking up and seeing a craft and see a strange-looking being looking out, for lack of a better term, what they call a window. There's some segment there that's missing that they don't have full understanding of. But it will visit them at nights because they will have nightmares about it. And they won't understand the nightmares. They will be trying to find answers to certain questions that have come up to them, not understanding the connection to the sighting. So there's more interaction going on than what people really know. And it's going on with a large number of people. And I guess what I'm saying is, we really need to get those people to start talking. And it's not just generic to the military, and the military doesn't have a handle on that. And it's not just generic to the U.S., it's worldwide. The government's covering up the knowledge that they have, that some UFOs are in fact interplanetary spacecraft, are interdimensional, multidimensional craft. Both can be one and the same. But we have a sentient life, much more evolved, much more intelligent than we are, that are visiting our planet. And we're keeping this information from the public.
If you enjoyed this, make sure to watch the next video on Awaken Zone. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell, but you won't want to miss what's coming next.